So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I have my white tumbler here, and this is spray painted with a flat spray paint. You want to get spray paint that's flat because the gloss will kind of reject some of the inks sometimes, and this will allow it to settle in. So I have it spray painted, and I let it sit for about an hour at least, and it'll be good and dry. So I always wear a glove when I work with inks because I am a messy crafter. And I know you guys can relate to that. Alright, so for my ink here, I'm just going to use one color. And I have the ginger. Tim Holtz inks are my favorite. I think that they have the most vibrant colors. So, I also have a chip brush. This is 68 cents at Walmart. And you just want the kind of thick, stiff bristles. Okay, so I've got the ink and I've got the spray paint. It's dry, and I'm just gonna put a thin line straight onto the cup. Then I'll take my chip brush here and just brush it downwards and just blend it in. All you're gonna be doing is working with these straight lines. Alcohol inks, they dry super fast, and so if I give it literally 30 seconds, it's gonna dry. It's gonna be dry. So it's ready for the next one. I just take a line and go straight down, and if you do have a run, just go ahead and brush it out. And you're going to do this all the way around the cup. And you can continue and start to do the bottom. And as it drips, I'll just rub it in. So you're not even really squeezing your inks. You're just holding it down and letting it run the length of your cup. And you want your colors to overlap. That's kind of where the wood grain effect plays in. You can do your lines as thick or as thin as you want. I just really let the alcohol just kind of do its thing. So and like I said, that's where you're going to get your grains from. Okay, moving on. And don't forget about your bottom. And I'll show you guys kind of how to do a natural knot when we get to the bottom. And I feel like that helps it blend. Like I said, I do one coat of epoxy after this before I lay my decal, because there's times that I've been able to see the inks through. But if I do a darker color vinyl, then you can just go ahead and lay it straight onto this and let it dry. The most important part of working with these alcohol inks is that you do have to seal them after you get finished, because epoxy is a chemical. So the chemical makeup in the epoxy changes the color sometimes. I did a black wood grain this past weekend, and the epoxy turned it green in the spots that I didn't have it sprayed completely. Like I said, if you have a run, just make sure that you run it over with your brush and it'll go away. You'll cover it. I use one color alcohol ink for my cups, but you can use more than one. You can use two. But I feel like the one does give it enough dimension, and it looks like the wood. Like I said earlier, this is one of the easiest tricks of the trade, one of the easiest tumblers you can make, but I do think it's one of the most beautiful. And we're almost done here. Just cover your bottom. Sorry, trying to keep that in focus. Just cover your bottom, but you do want to watch the edges because they will roll. The beauty of alcohol inks is that you can pretty much erase your work at any time. If you make a mistake or mess up, you can just take alcohol to it and it'll strip it immediately. Okay. So for the bottom, I'm just going to make sure that it is covered evenly. And then to do a natural knot in the wood grain, just make you give you a couple of drops. You don't want it to be even. And then as it is starting to dry, you can kind of take your brush and brush out the inks, and you want it to be irregular. Let it dry for just a second. And do the same with your second coat, second layer. Will you get me the clear spray paint? Alright, and then we kind of have a natural knot here. This is optional. You guys, you don't have to do this. I just like the look of the... It's up in there to the right. I just like the look of the knot. Alright. So I'll just go through and make sure that all of the inks are blended on the side here. I think it looks good. What do you guys think? I think it looks pretty good. Okay, so from this point, your cup is finished. That's literally all it takes. It's easy cup, and I love how it looks. I love the rustic look. And so at this point, I would take it outside or in the garage. I get in trouble for going in the garage though, so I'd probably take it outside and spray it with this clear gloss. I do use gloss for the spray paint because I want it to give it that little shine, and even though epoxy's going over it, I think that it still gives it a little bit of an advantage. This is the Rust-Oleum 2x Ultra Clear, and so I'll go on an epoxy, and if you guys will hang tight with me, that can dry. I'll show you how to epoxy the cup. So the cup is done from here on out. Alright, for my epoxy, I use the Amazing Clear Cast, and I've linked it in the description in our live here, but that was dry. So I have my cup here, and Mom, if you're on here, I know that you might be. I've made you a surprise cup, and I hope you love it. Okay, so when I mix my epoxy, I'm going to do 1 part to 1 part. So I'm going to do an even amount of both sides. So it doesn't matter which side you start with. I'm going to start with this and just pour it into your cup. And I do about 10 milliliters of each side for these. And then if it's glitter, I'll use more. So you're going to mix it in 2 separate cups and just give yourself an equal amount. I don't know if they can hear me. Okay. And then I'll take my popsicle stick and mix it into each other. And this part, it doesn't matter which side goes into which. You just want to make sure that you scrape your sides because they will stick, either one. But there's always one side that's a little bit thinner than the other, and that's the side that I pour. Make sure you get every drop counts. Okay. Alright. And this part, you're going to mix. And you don't want to whip it, you want to mix it slowly. It's going to start out cloudy, and you just want to mix until it's clear. I do like the Amazing Clear Cast epoxy. I'm going to move on to probably some FX or Pro Marine because I do see that it seems like they give less bubbles or less fish eyes, but I do like this Amazing Clear Cast. I get it at Hobby Lobby. For the regular size, they have 2 sizes there. There's a smaller and a larger. For the smaller, I'd say I could probably get about 15 cups done with them, and that's, you know, glitter always, it gives a little bit more, so you really never know. It's hard to say how many you actually get done, but you just want to keep mixing. And then some people will put this into a warm cup of water and it'll get out a lot of your smaller bubbles. The bigger bubbles will pop as you stir. Just don't whip it. Like I said, just slowly mix it. Okay, we're just about finished. It's clear. There's not a ton of bubbles that would hurt it. It looks pretty good. Okay. So I have it on my cup tisserie. Micah has done us a tutorial on how to make these, and then I'll have one coming up for the YouTube channel soon, and I'll link that once we get it done. Okay, so make sure that your decal is good and stuck on there. If there's any parts that are raised, it will epoxy raise. So I do what's called the finger method. You can use a silicone brush to brush this on, but I just use my hand. Make sure that it's even on your turner. That's the most important part of these, because epoxy is self-leveling. So if you have a bend in your cup, if it's sloped to one side, you will have buildup. I just pour a little on at a time and just rub it in top to bottom. Now you can tape your cups off at the top so you don't have any epoxy that runs into your cup. I don't. I just take an X-Acto knife when it's finished and just pop that part out, because I like to clean up the cup anyway. So I'll pop that part out and then I'll rub it down with some acetone, and it cleans up your cup. So I've got it all the way on the cup, all the way around, and then I'll take my hand and just kind of smooth it down onto the bottom. Now you don't want a lot of buildup on the bottom of your cup, because it will sit uneven if you have it unevenly applied. The problem areas of these cups is the top rim where your mouth would go. If you don't have it even on your cup turner, then it won't be even around the rim. And then down here at the bottom, I give it a little bit of special attention too. So by doing it this way, your decal is going to be permanently placed on your cup instead of being able to rub off or wear off. This permanently seals your decal onto your tumbler. I'll just work it all the way around. And I do these in my house right now because it's cold outside and epoxy likes to be warm. So I always work with it in a warm place. Alright, looks good to me. Just smooth that bottom out. And then some people, you can get a silicone mold. I know that Stephanie has some, and I'll get her to post in the group. And you can put these into a mold and people make coasters, they make little earrings, they make all kinds of little things. But that's it, you guys. That is a full start to finish epoxy wood grain tumbler. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I can't wait to see what you guys create. And if you liked it, give us a like on the post. And I'll see you guys next time.